most people, in my opinion, are training, quote unquote, going to the gym, training for the wrong reasons. I think that's because most people are just obsessed with going to the gym to look a certain way. They want to either put on muscle, be a bigger guy that fills out the shirt more so they have more confidence, or a lot of people trying to lose weight, lose fat. But they're doing it because they want to look a certain way. I get it. Like me growing up, I was always skinny and I hated it. And I'm always trying to be bigger, put on muscle, and I want to look a certain way. But when I started training with you, you completely flipped that on its head. 180 degrees, we started training for capability. And at first it was like, man, I'm doing things that are completely different. I'm carrying stuff, I'm lifting random, really shaped stuff up and down. Like, started training completely differently, but specifically for capability. And now I'm 100% believer in it because of what you have brought into my training. And I bring this up because I think a lot of people get burned out training for looks. Because after a while, like, you really hit a wall. Like, if you're not a professional bodybuilder or someone that's like really doing it 24/7 and doing all the things that they do, like, after a point, it's kind of like, why am I going to the gym again? Am I really still trying to get stronger on bench? Am I really, the average person? So I think if they were to train more for capability, they would realize, oh, I can always get faster. I can always carry more, or I can do a combination more. Maybe I'm not getting exponentially stronger, but I'm also getting faster over here, and I'm just becoming more capable. So you are in a unique position. Like, my nickname for you is the Juggernaut. I would like you to talk to people about what it means to train for capability. And I want to have the conversation that just because you train for capability doesn't mean you're also not going to look awesome. Because you can still get the looks you want, but hey, wouldn't it be better to be able to know for a fact that you can carry your significant other, your kids, you can pick up random shit that's not just perfectly on a bar, in a gym. Like, you being a former strongman, and your favorite thing is to pick up rocks, sometimes successfully, sometimes not.
Sometimes not.
Talk to us about training for capability, like forgetting about looks, and then we'll figure out how we can still get the looks we want.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that people get, kind of mixed up when it comes to training is they don't understand that your body is not going to look like how you train for the most part. Maybe like 10% of it. Your body's going to look like how you eat. That's a huge part of it, is how you're actually eating. And obviously eating for capability is super important, but training for capability, let's go back and define capable, right? So how I define capable is being able to walk, run, jump, sprint, carry, flip, climb, all the stuff that the human body should be able to do. We should be able to climb. We should be able to pull our body weight up and over a bar. We should be able to, do a tuck and roll. We should be able to, manipulate our own body weight before we even pick anything up. Like, we should be able to do that.
You said a couple of things there that let's unpack them a little bit. You said, because some of the things were obvious, right? Like run, move, stuff like that. But you said carry, you said climb. Those are two things that most people that go to the gym never do. They don't carry stuff and they don't climb. Because we're not just talking about picking the weights up and taking it to the bench, right? So talk to us about that word carry. There's infinite different ways to carry and so many different things out there. But what do you mean by carrying stuff?
Most injuries happen in the household. And most of the time, those injuries are from one of two things. One, picking up like a TV or something awkward that you don't think is that heavy.
Yep.
And two, picking up your kids. Those are the two most common ways that people get injured in the household. And nobody looks at the training in the gym having any correlation to with, what they do in normal life.
Yeah.
But the gym should be an extension of your normal life. It should complement your normal life. It should complement the things that you do in your life. So if you're a fireman, right, the way that you train should be a complement to what you do in your life and in your work. I'm sure you've seen the fireman games.
I love it. Yeah. This one guy I follow, his name is Johnny, I think. He wins them all from what I can tell. But yeah, you're right. He's running upstairs carrying hoses. They're pulling stuff up 3 stories. They're dragging dead weight. They're dragging this heavy hose over their shoulder while spraying a target. They're doing stuff that they do every day. Right? That's what I think is so wrong about, and when we talk about capability, is People go to the gym and they're very structured. They do a deadlift on a deadlift platform with wrist straps, with the perfect everything, the weight perfectly balanced, right? You know, everything, it's counted, it's timed, it's all this stuff. But then they go home to pick something up one quarter of the weight and throw their back out. I mean, I've done it many times, especially before I started training with you, just petting the damn dog, like not lifting anything, just bending over to get the dog because he's squirming around and, you know, being funny and cute and stuff. And boom, my back's out. I'm like, what? But I can quote unquote deadlift. What's going on?
Yeah.
It's because I think tell me if I'm wrong here. I think I was too rigid on a certain plane and just staying in this box and building muscles that really didn't transfer to capability outside of that plane or outside of that box.
Yeah, most like bodybuilding type, like quote unquote bodybuilding type exercise happens in what we call the sagittal plane.
Yeah.
Right. So your body has 3 planes of motion. It has the sagittal plane of motion, has a frontal plane of motion, has a transverse plane of motion. So sagittal is all, think about squat, deadlift, curl, bench, anything that happens like this way of your body, like front to back.
Sure.
Right. Most exercise happens that way. Transverse plane is essentially your body cut in half this way. So it's like rotating, anti-rotating, throwing, you know, all the stuff that most people don't do after they're 30, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the frontal plane, which is stuff like this. It's like pressing overhead and, you know, anything where your arms are coming out to the side and coming up, like jumping jacks are in the frontal plane, things like that. Very minimal stuff happens in the frontal plane. Most human movement happens in the transverse plane. It happens from your right arm to your left leg.
Yeah.
Your left leg to your right arm. Your right knee to your left knee. That's the way the body moves in an X pattern, and everybody trains sagittal. Rigid.
Yeah.
This way, squat, deadlift. There's no rotation, there's no twist, that doesn't mean, you know, go to do a deadlift and twist and like jerk and all that stuff. That's not what that means. It means that if you understand your body moves in an X pattern, you have to train it in a certain way that you are strengthening the muscles that enhance the sagittal plane movements. So we do a lot of carrying. We do a lot of single arm carrying. We do a lot of single leg stuff. We do a lot of individualized like body part stuff. That's what we did with you, a lot of carrying, because I noticed right away when we started training together that you're very, very strong, but your core wasn't as strong as essentially your sagittal plane movements. So the core of your body is from your neck to your pelvis. And that is what protects your entire body in all movement. The stronger you are in not only rigid, like being able to, you know, brace really hard, but the stronger you are being able to brace and move, the less likely you are to get injured, and the higher longevity you're going to have, the more likely you are to be able to move like freely and capably through your life.
Why do you think the training is so rigid right now? Is it an extension of like what Arnold started of basically going for looks and bodybuilding? Is that still what we're kind of chasing here? Because I do see, you know, CrossFit I think did a pretty decent job at like getting people training a different way. You know, whatever you think about CrossFit, at least we are becoming more capable there. Like we're doing crazy amounts of reps with something that normally you wouldn't do if you're just bodybuilding or doing a bro workout, you know? So, I mean, again, like why is it? Are we still kind of living like this post kind of Arnold thing where everyone's just going for looks? Is the education not out there? Like what is it? Because most people, when they do train like on one of your capability programs, they go, oh, damn, I actually feel way better, myself included. I'm like, oh, like I always say, like when I'm deep into like a capability program, I feel like I'm wrapping myself in armor and I feel way better. And then lo and behold, like I still get the arms and the shoulders and the legs and everything that I was trying to get before. So to me, it's like a win-win. But like it's almost like an alien thing to get people out of the back day, chest day, arm day, leg day. Why are we so locked like in a fitness industry into that?
Yeah, so the original like circus strongmen and the original bodybuilders, you know, the Eugene Sandows, he's like the godfather of bodybuilding. He's who the trophy is made from.
Sure.
You know, they did capability work. They had extremely strong core muscles. They did big, you know, full body movements, and they only worked out 3-4 times a week, maybe. It wasn't until the 60s, late 60s, early 70s when Joe Weider, Muscle Magazine, they were trying to find a way to sell more protein. So what's the best way to sell more protein? Make people work out more.
Yeah.
So it was like, cool, let's split the body up into body part splits. So that was something that was created as a marketing thing back in the 60s and 70s. I don't remember what date it was. I used to know. I wrote a whole dissertation on this before. But back in the 60s and 70s, Muscle Magazine, they were trying to sell protein. So Joe Weider basically got Arnold and the rest of these top guys to say, oh yeah, I do chest day and back day and all this stuff. But in reality, to build the body the way they were built then, before they started doing that, they were doing full body 3 times a week. Full body capability type stuff. And that's how they were building their body. Just so happens late 50s is when, steroids started coming on the scene. Dianabol got released from the Eastern Bloc. But I mean, the dosages were way different. I mean, these guys are taking 10 milligrams and guys now are doing 100, 200 milligrams, per day. But, so we're kind of still in that, like you said, in that post, like, Muscle Magazine thing where it's like, well, hold on a second. What is the best way to build a strong and capable body? It's full body or, movement pattern type stuff, pressing, pulling, hinging, squatting, carrying, and not chest day, back day, arm day. That should be like very minimal part of your training. That is more specifically for if you have an aesthetic goal specifically, like you want to step on stage, you have to build your body in stages like that because your quads are going to lag behind your hamstrings.
Yeah.
If you do, full body stuff, or your calves are going to lag behind your forearms, or your biceps are going to lag behind your triceps. So having a dedicated day to it can help you bring up weak points and stuff. So if you're into aesthetics, like if there's an aesthetic way that you want to look, it's absolutely beneficial to do some bodybuilding bro type splits sometimes because you can bring those lagging body parts up and essentially build your body like you're shaping yourself out of clay, like Arnold used to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I understand what you're saying, everyone has an aesthetic goal, right? But if you are trying to, like Arnold used to say, put clay in certain spots, that's probably where you're doing arm day, leg day, back day, stuff like that, because you need to have it so dialed in because you're being judged, literally, like not by society, by judges. You're being judged on the size of your calves versus your deltoids. Is it all proportional? Does it make sense? So that makes a ton of sense because the average, let's just talk to guy out there, but guys and girls, but like the average person out there, especially the average men, like we're not trying to go on stage. Like how many people go on stage? Like 0.001% probably or less.
Than that, yeah.
So most people are training, in my opinion, in a way that is not conducive to give them the best results. They're chasing something that doesn't really apply to them. Because again, they can get the results they want by training in a way that's also going to make them feel better, fortify them for picking up the kids and the TV and the random stuff.
Unfortunately, unfortunately nowadays, most people have such an unrealistic view of what they can actually do with their body too.
Yeah.
Because of the industry, because the industry is so toxic. It's one of the things we talk about a lot is like the fitness industry is toxic as shit. It is insanely toxic because you have these influencers that are showing you a ripped and tan and, jacked and veiny and like grainy, hard skin body year round, when that is 100% not realistic for anybody on earth. I don't care what the best genetics on earth, you're not going to be able to do that without some form of pharmacological help. That's not taking anything against like anabolic steroids. I've taken steroids. I competed in strongman. I took a shitload of steroids and it absolutely helped. It didn't mean that I had to train less. I actually had to train harder because you can recover way faster. So you actually have to train way harder. So that's the other thing too. If you're a natural athlete and you're just protein, creatine, multivitamin, you don't want to dabble in any of the crazy stuff and you're not getting on stage, you're just training for life. Like there's a way better way to train than chest and back, shoulders and arms, legs and abs, arm day, back day, chest day. It's crafting what is going to be sustainable for you. Split your body part up in however many days it takes if you have to do that, or do 3 full body workouts and do it like intentionally. Like, okay, I want to get stronger, I want to be faster and stronger. Cool. How do I do that? It's really easy. Quick Google search, or you can hire a coach.
Yeah.
Hire a coach.
Yeah. You mentioned the industry being toxic, and I agree for a bunch of different reasons. But let's talk about one in particular. Like a lot of people come up the ranks of working out kind of through the bro science bodybuilding type thing, right? And then maybe at some point they hear about CrossFit and they're like, oh, what is that? Well, what happened with me when I first saw CrossFit was a thing, I was a little interested in it. It sounded cool, has a cool name. My last name's Cross, and I was just like, I don't know, that looks kind of fun.
Justin Cross.
Yeah. But right away, the bodybuilding industry was completely against it. And I find it interesting now because, like you said, you could take probably just about any of those guys out there that are super ripped all year round, all the time. They look a certain way, but you go and toss them into a CrossFit competition, they're done, last place.
Like a beginner CrossFit.
Like a beginner. They're completely smoked. Like they're not going to be able to perform. They're probably going to get hurt. So it goes back to like, dude, what are you actually trying to accomplish here? Are you trying to look a certain way, or do you want to be able to move and use your body to its maximum potential? For me, that's what I want.
Which is going to make your body look a certain way too.
That's right. It's still going to look great.
And you're going to look like that for years and years and years. That's the difference. There's a guy, his name is, oh gosh, I forget his name now. He's in his 70s. And he's the Primal Health coach. I can't remember his actual name. He's in his 70s.
Yeah.
And he is ripped. But it's because he's been doing this and he's been training for capability for 50 years. And he looks awesome. He can run, he can hike, he can bike, he can crawl, he can climb, he can do all the stuff. And he's in his 70s.
Yeah.
My mom is a perfect example of this too. My mom's in her 70s. I just showed somebody the other day a video of her jumping on a trampoline with my niece. My mom's 77 this year. Sorry, Mom, if I got it wrong. My mom's in her 70s.
Yeah.
She's jumping on a trampoline with my niece, and she's bouncing and, like, all the stuff. And we're like, wait, how old's your mom? I'm like, she's in her 70s. It's like, why? I'm like, because she's been, like, training, quote unquote, for, for capability, gardening and running and sprinting and doing push-ups and,
right.
Eating the right way and all that, which is key. And she's been doing it for 50 years, and it comes back to the realistic like nature of what you can actually accomplish, right? Most people have such a skewed view of what you should be able to accomplish especially in a short period of time, because the industry has just shown us all super jacked, super ripped, super young, and all this stuff. And it's like, number one, most, if not all, of anybody who's ever been on a magazine cover is probably 99.999% on some sort of performance enhancing something or diuretics, and the other 1% or 0.001% is Photoshop. Like, that's just the way it is. If you're going on a magazine cover, they're going to use all the lighting tricks. They're going to dry you out. You're going to take diuretics.
Sure.
They're going to airbrush your abs. Like, it's so unrealistic for what people think they can accomplish. So when they come into the industry, they have such like I said, an unrealistic view of what they can do that most people get like, they get upset and they're like, man, I'm doing all the training. I'm like been doing chest day on Monday for 10 years and I still can't bench 2 plates or whatever. And it's like, well, you're not training that way. Yeah. Like getting strong, there's a very specific input that you have to do. Getting, losing weight, there's a very specific input that you have to do. Enter whatever goal it is, and there's a very specific way that you have to train to get there. And if you do that with capability, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get leaner, you're going to get faster, you're going to get more capable, you're going to be healthier, and you're going to have that for a really, really long time.
Here's the other funny part about it is you mentioned people get frustrated when they're not seeing the results that they want. Well, if they're also following that typical split, how many days a week are they in the gym?
5
or
7.
6, maybe 7 days a week.
Yep.
That's a lot, especially for someone who's getting new into it. Like, dude, I just want to get in good shape. Because most people, again, do not want to go on stage, but they're training like they're pretending like they're going to go on stage. Mm-hmm. You said earlier that the capability workouts are typically 3 days a week. How much more obtainable is that? Going to the gym half the time, I'm sure there's still movement and there's still good habits we need, and we still need to keep our body moving. And you can make the argument to walk or ruck probably every day. Mm-hmm. But man, just trying to digest that, especially as a new person in the gym, you're looking at either 6 days a week, trying to train with usually chicken, broccoli, rice, and nothing fun, or how about 3 days a week and more of a sustainable diet? Because what you're getting at here, I think, is sustainability is the key.
100%.
Right? Because there's all sorts of crash diets and challenges and all this kind of stuff out there. And we'll put Live Hard off to the side for a while because that I can make a great argument for that because that is a longer program.
Sure.
It's more of a program. It's not really a challenge. It's not a challenge at all, really. But most people, I think, they don't get into something that is actually sustainable for them. They get in, they're super fired up, they see the unbelievably ripped abs with all the water taken out, and they get in for 6 days a week, and they're following a plan that is really not even, doesn't have a chance of getting them what they think they're going to get. So no matter how many years you're in it, you're like, well, shit, how come I don't look like my coach? Mm-hmm. Well, because your coach is, there's a lot more going on there.
Yep. Yeah, there's something to this too, and don't get me wrong, you could train every day if you did it the right way. Mm-hmm. You should be active every day.
Active, for sure.
So when we say train 3 times a week, I mean heavy capability type weights and like intensity. Like intense in the gym, but you don't need to be in the gym for more than 3-4 days a week. You can be, for sure. And that's something that, that I've got very good at in the last few years is crafting programs to meet somebody's lifestyle too. Mm-hmm. Because that's the other thing. As a coach, and I talked about this on my social media recently, as a coach, you need to be able to build a plan that's sustainable for the client. Not a plan that you want them to do, but a plan that they're going to want to do. There's a huge disconnect between this is the plan that you need to do, and I know that it's going to work because it worked for X, Y, and Z. And it's like, well, if they're not going to do it, there's no amount of mindset coaching that's going to make somebody like that has 2 businesses and a family, and like there's no mindset shift that's going to happen that wants to make them go to the gym 7 days a week. It's just not, it's not practical and it's not realistic whatsoever. They don't need to.
Yeah.
But that's what they're hearing from everybody in the industry is like, well, you got to get ripped as a father and you got to sit just 6 days a week in the gym and fucking cold plunge, hot bath, like all the stuff. When it's like, no, the number one thing you need is consistency and sustainability.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Consistency, sustainability. Do that instead for 6 to 12 weeks, something that you can actually stick to that's sustainable and you can, be consistent with, that you actually kind of enjoy. You're going to get way better results than if you just hammer yourself down for 12 weeks or 6 months or whatever it is in some crazy crash program like you talked about that isn't developed for your lifestyle whatsoever, restricts and cuts out all of the stuff that you like all of it. Like, listen, if you like pancakes, we can totally program that in for you. There's certain things that, obviously, there's certain things that I suggest people never eat, but that's a different story.
Yeah. When I see a coach or a trainer prescribe the classic chicken, broccoli, rice, no fun diet, and then just hammer, yes, I know it sucks, but discipline, do it. To me, that's lazy. To me, that's them not actually caring about their client, getting real long-term results. Because sure, if you could actually take that person and make them follow just that forever, they'll definitely get results. That is not realistic for 99% of the people out there. So when I see that, I'm like, man, this coach, I mean, they seem like they have their stuff together, but when I see the actual, process and what they're supposedly using to get people these results, I'm like, no, that's crap. It's lazy. If you really wanted to help this person, you would ask them a ton of questions. You would listen to them, figure out what they want to eat, and see how to progress them along, and not just say it's this way or the highway. Because that's why most people never get the results. They don't have a plan that's actually sustainable. Like maybe a day, maybe a week, maybe something like that. Maybe they can get super fired up for a couple weeks, but they eventually realize, I am not going to eat like this forever.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when they reach out to their coach, I actually had somebody in my DMs recently asking me about this that has a coach.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, my coach is asking me to do this, and you're the only person on the internet that I trust. I was like, wow, that's cool. Maybe you should hire me instead,
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, yeah, what's going on? And they're like, my coach has me doing this thing, and that was super unsustainable. And I was like, have you told him about that? They said, yes. I told them that I can't sustain this. Can we change it maybe like this? Or what is an option here, right?
Yeah.
And this person isn't a high-level athlete. They're not a crazy entrepreneur. They're just a regular person that wants to get in shape. They want to be in better shape. They want to feel better. They want to operate better. They want to feel better. They want to feel better about themselves. And I asked him, I was like, well, did you talk to him? He said, well, I can't talk to him about that. They're just going to tell me I'm being a pussy. I'm like, and you're paying this person. Like, you're paying this person to tell you that you're just being a pussy because they made a plan that was unsustainable for you and they want you to stick to it, but it's totally unrealistic for your lifestyle.
Right.
It's like, that tells me two things. Number one, they're a lazy coach. And number two, they probably got, if they even have a certification, they probably got it online. Like, it's so rampant. And this is there's like a joke. There's like a running joke, especially in bodybuilding. So as soon as you do a show, now you're a coach. You do a show,
Just about to
then
say that.
I'm opening up my thing for 10 clients I'm taking on. You know, I just got off stage and I got a sword from this obscure fucking bodybuilding federation that doesn't even exist in most states, but I'm a pro now. You know, and it's like, it's rampant in that industry for 100%. And every time everybody walks off stage, they're like, I'm a coach now. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah. There's a big difference between getting yourself results or having somebody help you get results and then transferring that to the sea of different people out there with different backgrounds, results, genetics, injuries, issues, belief systems, like all that stuff. Just because you're on stage and even if you win 5, 10 shows, that doesn't mean that you have the heart, the belief, and then the science to work with other people. Maybe if someone is just like you, genetically, and they have the same discipline as you and the same maybe allergies or whatever, sure, maybe you can work with that person. But if you're just trying to push them into a cookie cutter program, this is what's so funny. Another thing I find interesting about the industry, just saying cookie cutter program, people start to think, that's not really happening. That guy's a pro. That couldn't be cookie cutter. He has 1 million followers. That can't be cookie cutter because look at him. And I'm like, no.
Those are all the indicators that is probably
That's probably an indicator that it is a cookie cutter, because one of the things that is so different about us is your background of science and research and having the heart to actually want to get someone results and sticking with them and not just taking the easy way out and telling them to shut the hell up and just suck it up and do it. We get a lot of people that it's kind of sad that come from other programs that are expecting that. Mm-hmm. And then when they see oh wait, you'll actually talk to me? Mm-hmm. Like we can actually figure this out. They're like, oh damn, I've never had this before. I've been with this other person for X amount of time and nothing ever changed. And anytime I asked to have it changed, I just got yelled at. Mm-hmm. And they're surprised that there's another way. But this is the whole point of this chat is that everybody out there should be able to feel good, move good, not be achy, and really just enjoy having a capable body.
Absolutely.
And it's totally obtainable, no matter who you are. It is definitely obtainable. But most of the places that it seems to go are the wrong places to go because those are the guys that are just doing it to make money. They got themselves on stage, they got a trophy, and they're basically saying, come to me, give me all your money, and I'm going to yell at you to do the most restrictive, unsustainable, unrealistic stuff. And it's all a money grab. Mm-hmm. They're lacking two things, I think, in my opinion, heart and science, which means you actually want your client to get the results, and you actually have the knowledge and the knowledge to basically change some stuff along the way, to incorporate things like you said, like maybe pancakes or some beers or AKA a regular life.
Yeah.
Who wants to give up just enjoying life and the barbecue and the wedding food and just the things that, look, we're humans. Of course we eat and we have to eat, but it doesn't mean we have to be robots about it. Mm-hmm. There's so much, dude, it's 2024. Food is freaking amazing. All this stuff that is out there, I want to taste all of it. What is the point of just ignoring all the good stuff in the world just because some coach says that's what you need to do if you know there's another way? Because there is another way.
Yeah. The huge differentiator between, the cookie cutter stuff and everything else is education. Mm-hmm. When you tell your client, and this is for the coaches out there, when you tell your client that this is restricted from your diet and you're not explaining to them why,
yeah,
that's a major problem. Or even when you're telling them, hey, this is what you're going to eat. Well, why? Even if your client's not asking you. And this is where I disagree with a lot of coaches out there, because a lot of coaches out there will say, well, your client doesn't care. They just want the results. Sure. They don't care about the nuances, but they would love to know why you're having them not eat fucking anything except for chicken, broccoli, and rice.
Yeah.
Like, tell them. Explain to them why.
You
don't even know.
If there's a reason I can't have this beautiful ribeye steak, tell me.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably going to have it anyway and not tell you.
Here's what the regular bodybuilding coach would say. Oh, it's too high in fat. Well, is fat bad?
Yeah, and what, we can't account for that?
And we can't account for that? Like, is there a way that we could fit that in? You know? And somebody like me, I'll just give you a quick rundown real fast about, okay, somebody wants a big ribeye steak and maybe a glass of whiskey, right? And they're in a calorie deficit, or they should be. So, okay, we'll look at it like this. Instead of looking at it on a daily basis, right, we'll just say 2,000 calories. So they have 2,000 calories they need to eat today, and they'll be in a deficit. We have them losing a pound per week, which is super sustainable, really, really easy. You can lose up to 2 pounds per week safely if you do it the right way. We have them losing a pound per week safely. Boom, everything's dialed in. Hey, it's my birthday. I'm going to go out tonight, have a steak and a whiskey, like I'm going to, right? Cool. Absolutely, we can account for that. Let's, and this is what I do, right? I will find, okay, where are you going? You going to this steakhouse? Cool. I'll look up what kind of steak they're getting. Boom, boom, boom. I add everything up for them. And then we disseminate the rest of the calories over the week, because it's not the daily calories that matters. It's the week, the 2 weeks, the 3 weeks, the 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So if they ate 2,500 calories today, cool. The rest of the week, I'm going to take 7 and just subtract 500 from the rest of the 7 days. Not every day, but 500 total. They won't even know. So I'm like, all right, cool. We're going to take 25 calories away from here. We're going to take 25 away from here. They're not even going to know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, just don't use condiments today, or don't use this today, or decrease this amount by this much today. And yes, you can go out and enjoy that thing. But also understand that the whiskey isn't doing you any favors.
Right.
On your health, right? There's no healthy amount of alcohol, right? There are some better ones. Like if you're going to do it, like clean, super high quality, like tequila, like that's, in my opinion, neat. Like that's the best over ice.
Forget the mixers.
Yeah, forget the mixers.
All that
mezcal
stuff.
and
Just
ice.
get some high quality spirit, drinking neat.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but if you're going to do that, then understand, okay, cool, there's some education that needs to happen on the back end. The alcohol's not doing you any favors. But if we know that that's going to happen, cool. Now I can tell you, all right, for the 3 days before that, here's what we're going to do to mitigate all the bad stuff, or most of the bad stuff that's going to happen when you have the alcohol. And it's like, oh, cool. My coach actually cares about me. He knows what he's talking about. He understands that I still need to live my life. And this isn't going to throw me off my whole plan. It's not going to make me not get my goals. It's not even going to slow you down. It's probably going to make it go faster, because now you're going to be more fired up that you can actually live your life and not be restricted totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So to bring this back to capability, how we started it, some of the guys out there that I think of, like who really needs to train for capability, and who are we really talking about with that? We're talking, guys that want to have fun on the weekends and stuff. That's kind of the average person that has a job. But specifically, I think about like firefighters, policemen, and military, because those guys have crazy schedules, very difficult jobs. They're physically demanding, they're mentally demanding. So a lot of those guys, rightfully so, when it comes time for a day off or a couple days off, what do they want to do? They want to hit some beers, they want to go to the lake, they want to go fishing, they want to go shooting, they want to enjoy their life, especially because it's a dangerous job. Like, you were a Marine, I was in the Navy. Like, we have a lot of friends that are in police, and like those jobs, they do come with a higher risk. And so those are the last people, in my opinion, that we should be restricting from enjoying some days off. So if we can get them, training the right way to where they can be the most effective in their job, which is definitely priority one, because there's other people's lives at stake, that rely on them, depend on them. But then they know that they can get off, and they can still go out for wings and beers and watch the UFC fight and do their thing and stay on track and still be the most capable SWAT team member or firefighter or recon, guy or whatever. I mean,
I would say that they'd be more capable.
I think they'd be,
not having a robotic, plan on the back end, you're going to be more capable. Because now you're not carrying that over into your job. You're not carrying like a burden and like just kind of a shitty lifestyle into your job now. You know,
that's a good point.
And the major thing to understand, the most capable people out there live an 80-20 or 90-10 lifestyle. 80% of the time, everything is on point. Sleep, nutrition, vitamins, like everything is on point 80 to 90% of the time. And then that 10, 20% of the time, I do whatever I want. Go to Cabo, have some drinks, have a cigar, whatever, because I understand that as long as I'm on point 80 to 90% of the time, my body knows what to do with toxins. Now it can manage those things better. My organ systems aren't beat down already from not having any nutrition, not having proper nutrients, not training properly, not being hydrated. You know, if I'm all those things up front, cool. Body knows what to do. Bounce back.
And then you mix in one key word here, happiness, into the mix. How does your body react to that? Right?
It's everything.
It's everything. Because, of course, if we could be truly the most dialed in, disciplined machines ever, never have a drop of alcohol, never eat anything outside of our macros, train perfectly, your body's probably going to do pretty well.
You're still going to die at 120.
Yeah, we're all going to die. And like for the average person, again, like if you can enjoy the process, how much more are you going to push when it's time to go to the gym? Like if you only have to go to the gym, let's say 4 days a week on your program, and then maybe on your 5th or 6th day, you're walking or doing some active recovery or some yoga or something like that. But you allow yourself to go to the concert on the weekend and have some margaritas and have some tacos, enjoy your life. Just having that little bit of happiness mixed in, I think you're like, oh, wow, I can still look this way, I can still feel this way. When Monday comes around again, it's time for the gym, you're going to go harder. You're going to go harder than the person who has been completely restricted from all those things for months, because that person's probably kind of miserable, starting to kind of turn into an old man, get off my lawn, and is looking down on people that are having fun. And I experienced this a ton.
Yep.
I was running.
I have to weigh each grain of rice.
Yeah. I experienced this so much, bro. When I was running Earn Your Booze, especially in the beginning, I was able to have my shirt off, have abs, be in noticeably good shape, but still have drinks, go to the donut runs and still do these things. And man, people come out of the woodwork when you do that, but then you realize, who are these people that have such a problem with me enjoying my life? Dude, 99% of the time, it's the people that have put themselves on these ridiculously restrictive diets and programs and life protocols, most of the time for no reason. They don't really know why.
Yep.
And they can't stand to see somebody else still having the results that they want and still enjoying their life.
Yeah. I think the all or nothing people, I think that's a really immature way to live.
I do too.
I think that's a very immature, it's all or nothing. I go all in or I don't at all. And it's like, I'm super addictive. I have addictive personality. No, you're just weak-minded.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. You don't have an addictive personality. There's no personality that's addictive.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, that's like not scientifically accurate. You just have tendencies for addiction because you're not training your mind the right way.
Yeah, then you're not the most enjoyable person to be around too. There's two different kinds of cops, well, a lot of different kinds, but say two in particular. One is the guy with the straight brim hat. There's no room for joking or nothing.
You're getting a ticket.
He's a jackass. You're getting a ticket no matter what happened. Like if you went 1 mile over, you cannot make him smirk. It seems like he has no humanity in him,
got the flat top.
Yeah, because he's taking it too seriously. However, if you have that cop that's out there working his ass off and on the weekend is still loving his life and is, having fun with his friends and his family and everything, those are typically the cops that are going to, joke a little bit more and be more of a member of the community they're supposed to be serving. And I just bring that up because it just ties back into us and our genuine happiness level of our lives. Like sometimes we are placing these restrictions on ourselves for no reason. There's no, like you said, there's no reason you can't go out. Today's your birthday, so happy birthday, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason anyone has to skip going out and having a badass steak, a couple drinks if you like, a cigar, just enjoying things that are quote unquote unhealthy. Because the alcohol, like you said, there's no health benefit to it.
No benefit whatsoever.
But if you're working your ass off for it and you're earning it, your body is just it's going to go in, it's going to go out, get back on the horse on Monday, and it's going to be like nothing happened. It's fine. But the average person out there, I just want them to hear that like that is possible, because we trained a lot of people through Earn It All so far, and it's just amazing to me how many people come in with all these preconceived notions about how restrictive nutrition has to be, how like, hey, where's my back day and my arm day? Hey, where are all these things that they've been conditioned? And it's easy. We just tell them, hey, look, what you've done so far has got you the results you have now. You're here because you want different results, right? So we're going to do things differently.
Yep.
But when they do the work, it happens every time. Happens every time. They go, oh, dude, this is crazy. I can't believe why. And they start to second guess, like, what have I been doing for 20 years?
Yep. I want to go back to something we were just talking about like moderation, right? And this is why I think this is why like society has such a problem with moderation right now, where it's like all or nothing type of people, where it's like it's because moderation was kind of taught wrong. Like moderation was taught for alcohol, like 2 drinks a night. That's heavy alcohol drinking. That's not moderation.
2 a night.
2 a night is basically where those studies came from. Was 2 a night is going to be as much as you can drink without putting yourself in immediate danger. Like that's not moderation.
That came from Dr. John Daniels.
Yeah, like yeah,
AKA Jack.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah,
this doctor is like,
yeah.
He's sipping over here, and he's like, moderate drinking, 2 drinks a night. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah. And then, so that's not moderation. That's like you're a heavy drinker if you're drinking 2 drinks a night. Moderation truly is like have a drink at a wedding. You have a drink for your birthday. You have a couple drinks for your buddies, whatever. It's not every weekend. It's not like that's not moderation. Having a couple beers at the lake. And then the next 2 weekends you don't do anything. And then maybe, it's moderation is meant to be like sporadic.
Yeah.
Where, like I said, 80, 20, 90, 10, that's moderation. It's not 2 drinks a night. It's not, well, I'm drinking wine, so that means I'm getting the resveratrol, and that means that, it's antioxidant. And it's like, cool, well, the alcohol is an oxidant, so the resveratrol in the alcohol is basically kind of just canceling it out. But that's not really how that works anyways, so like that's dumb. So... it's a misunderstood thing. So it all comes back to education.
Yeah.
And it's something that we do really well. I really, really enjoy that we do a live call every week. And I think the people that are on that call all the time, we've had a couple people that have been consistently on that call for over a year now. More than that. More than that. And all it is education. It's just, hey, here's what moderation really means, or here's what this means, or here's what, and every time we come out of that, we have at least 5, 6, 7 people that DM me, DM you, and they're just like, wow, I didn't know that. Like, that's crazy. Everything in the industry tells you this, or everything, my other coach told me that I had to, throw out all my seasonings because they were all bad. And it's like, it's not really what that means.
Yeah.
If you have a very specific goal, especially when it comes to aesthetics, yes, things are going to have to get a little restrictive. If you have a very specific, I want to be 8% body fat, sure, we're going to get you to 8% body fat for a photo shoot. That's a lot different than, hey, I just want to have some abs and feel good and be able to go to the lake and show them off, and way different.
Yeah.
2 completely different things.
Yep.
If you have a very specific 8% body fat, I'm doing a magazine cover, or I'm doing a thing, it's like, all right, cool. Things are going to get restrictive and it's going to suck for a little bit, but you have a very specific goal.
Yep.
I
saw this girl last night. I might butcher her name right now. I think it's Jana Breslin. She's a fitness person, right? Well, she did this test, and she was basically like, I eat a ton of meat. And this one particular research thing that she was watching said that you can't be optimized by eating meat like your body. And she's kind of just like, I think that's BS. So she replicated the test. She put on the mask, got on the treadmill, got all these instruments, and, I don't even know what it was. I had a doctor, someone there monitoring it. And I bring that up because, one, it came out, she was completely optimal in every category. But then 2, like if you were to look at her, she's quote unquote ripped, great abs, like the whole 9 yards. She was 20.8% body fat. So that's a lot of times when we get a lot of ladies in, they're like, oh, I need to get my body fat down. And they have a number that's, whatever, single digit or low double digit. You always, rightfully so, push back and be like, no, like you want to be healthy. You can still have abs. But when you start to throw out 18, 19, 20%, they're like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. But it was confirmation. Literally last night when I saw this reel, she was 20.8, almost 21%.
With abs.
And if anyone was to look at her, you would think she's probably the healthiest female on the planet, just looking at her. With abs, very lean. I forget what I should look it up, but her muscle mass, everything was just spot on, and she was still 20%.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and that's something that people like.
Their heads explode. They can't
explode.
They can't handle that.
Like, and especially when you tell like most guys, for your body to actually operate the right way, you have to have. Most guys are going to fall in, 12 to 16% for your endocrine system to work the right way, because you have to have a certain body fat percentage on your body in order for proper aromatization to happen, for proper testosterone production, for proper estradiol balance. Like, you're not going to have any of those things if you're too low body fat.
Explain what those three are for people.
Yeah, so those are your sex hormones.
Okay.
So you have to have a certain level of body fat for that all to work. So if you have too low body fat, you can get like ED, like your dick won't work anymore.
Yeah.
Like same thing if you get too high body fat. It's all a balance. And that usually, like 90% of the time, usually falls between 12% and 16%. And you're going to have at least 2, maybe 4 abs at 12, 13%. Like if you're 12, 13% and you're training properly, you're going to look really good. You're going to be very happy with the way you look.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that come in, they're like, I got to be 3% body fat. And I'm like, cool, there's one person in the entire world right now that can maintain 3% body fat. And he's that one weird, he's like from Sweden or something. And he has like a genetic disorder where his body won't hold body fat. I'm like, cool. So
is that what you want?
Is that what you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it just goes back to being realistic with people and setting the right expectations. But I mean, everyone can get, in my opinion, the goal that they want, but maybe they don't really know what the goal is. So that's what I like about when new people come in. They tell us, what they're doing. They say that they're extremely active. They say they're eating very clean, and they don't understand why they get the results. But it doesn't take long at all just to kind of back up a little bit, analyze some, have a conversation with them or have a read of their form, and you realize, well, actually, no, you don't move hardly at all. You are eating too much. And we need to have, some education here about what you're eating, but it's really easy tweaks most of the time. Like I love to say that, it really just takes a 1 degree shift in something, put consistency behind that 1 degree shift, and that you can be in a much different place after 90 days, after 180 days.
Absolutely. I like to say it's like a DJ board, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the DJ operator, even though I can't DJ at all. But I can DJ somebody's body, right? So I look at the DJ board and I say, okay, if you're looking at your body as the DJ board, if the volume is turned down, you're not going to hear the music. If the treble is way too high, the music's going to sound like shit. If, the bass is too low, you're not going to have any boom, right? Like if everything has to line up perfectly, not perfectly, but everything has to line up in order for the music to happen.
Yeah.
And I love this analogy because when we set up somebody's DJ board the right way, they feel the music. They feel like the magic of their body. They feel the intrinsic flow of I feel really good.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things to me is helping people feel good, because most people have forgotten what feeling good feels like.
I want to talk about that DJ board a little bit more, because I think it's a good visualization of how easy it can be to make little changes here and there to get your results. Because a lot of people assume that they have to give up everything. They have to completely change the way they eat, the way they sleep, their whole entire lifestyle. They have to give up everything that makes them happy, and it's just going to suck, and they're going to suffer through it. But when you take that DJ board, it's not necessarily that it's just the the treble that's off. The treble might be off, but only by a tiny bit. Or maybe the bass and the treble in the mid all just need a little tweaks. And then maybe it's we're going to change this input over here just a little bit, and it's not necessarily that we have to like unplug and throw the whole DJ board away and bring in a brand new one. It's like, no, everything is right there. The answers are there. They just need to be tweaked and looked at the right way by someone that knows how to do that. And most trainers, most Airfingers coaches don't. They know what worked for them. They know what the basics are, and they try to put everyone in the same box. They don't even have a DJ board. Like they have a vinyl record, and that's it. They're taking the vinyl record that says this is the way to do it. Put this on your thing, and you better like the music, and that's it. So, it's just crazy because, again, it's so easy to get noticeable changes in your body when you know what to do. So I kind of want to wrap it up with this. We started talking about capability. So you mentioned that 3-day-a-week thing. What could somebody do right now who's just like, all right, I'm convinced I want to try training a different way. I've been lifting for 5 years or 15 years or 25 years, and I feel like I'm kind of stuck. I want to get more capability. I believe what you guys are saying. Like, what's something they could do right now that they could just be like, hit pause on this and run to the gym and do?
Yeah, so you should, if you're going to do that today, right, I would say the most important thing for capability is to try to carry something. So go and try to carry something today. Carry something heavy. Try to carry your own body weight. Try to carry half your body weight. Try to carry the body weight of your significant other. In whatever way that you can put the weight together. Sandbags are great. Carry a couple plates, whatever it is. Do it safely, obviously. If you're not used to doing that, try to do it safely. But just for the switch in your head of like, oh, carrying is the most capability driven thing that we could do, and I can't do it.
And it's really easy to do because everyone has heavy stuff at their house or their apartment or their gym or wherever. Like you said, like we use a lot of Go Ruck stuff because they make stuff you can fill with sand, which is really nice. Like we have, what do we have? We have tombstones, we have kettlebells, we have these bucket looking things, we have the sandbags, and you just fill it with sand. And you find different ways to carry it. You can either, grab it and squeeze it to your chest. You can put it on your right shoulder, your left shoulder, behind your neck, on your back, and down to your side with one hand, with two hands. But basically just start to carry stuff is what you're saying. It could be buckets of paint, right? It could be rocks you put in a freaking canvas bag. Like just get creative. If you don't have Go Ruck or you don't have some stuff at the gym, you don't even have to go to the damn gym to carry something. How about just pick your wife up? Like you said, safely, just pick stuff up and start getting used to carrying, especially off, what do I want to say? Like just off-shaped things, randomly shaped things, things that are not designed to just be picked up right there on that platform and put down right there on that platform. Go pick up some weird stuff and carry it.
And then, moving on from that, plug in the way the body moves, right? It's the easiest way to develop a program for yourself. It's the way that I develop most programs for people unless they have a very specific goal. We push things, we pull things, we carry things, we squat things, and we hinge things, which is a deadlift. And then we rotate and we walk and run. That's basically it. So if you developed a training plan of those 7 things, you're going to be very, very capable. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get faster. You're going to lose weight. You're going to lose fat. You're going to gain muscle. You're going to do all the things. And it doesn't even have to be all dialed in yet. If you just did those things a couple times a week, you're going to feel way better. You're going to operate way better, and your life is just going to be better.
Yeah. So if you're listening, as you can tell, we really enjoy this stuff. Like this is really fun for us. One, because it works, and two, because I was telling Keely the other day, I think one of our favorite parts of coaching and training people is seeing them get the results, seeing their own belief in themselves go up, and just seeing them genuinely happy with themselves. So if you guys want to reach out to Adam, Adam, what's your Instagram?
It is _Adam Niall.
How do you spell Niall, though? It's a little different.
Niall, like null.
So Adam _Niall. Yep. You can find us at earnitall.com. We Earn It All is our Instagram page. Earn Your Booze is our other Instagram page. Mine is Justin J. Cross. But look, you can tell we're so passionate about this, and we train people all across the country. How many other countries actually do we have? Probably
Five or six.
Yeah,
right
five
now.
or six.
Yeah.
So you don't have to live where we live in Scottsdale, Arizona. If you guys would like to get on one of our capability programs, I highly suggest starting there. Just shoot us a DM. Go to the website. If you don't see it on what you're looking for on the website, let's just have a conversation first. This is what most people also won't do. Let us say, go to the website, buy it, and just shut up and do the program. Like, we actually like talking with our people. You know, every single day I'm talking with our clients every single day, because after a while, especially, like, they become friends. Like, we know them really well. You know, obviously you see somebody make physical transformations, mental transformations, and then like there's business benefits and relationship benefits along the way. Like, we get really close with our people. So it's also fun to start that way. So if you guys want to reach out to either one of us, happy to talk with you about where you've been, where you're at now, where you want to go. Or we can just, if you got questions about this podcast or something, we can chop that up too.
Yeah, I want to leave everybody with this. Just remember that the things that are blocks in your mind, the things that tell you that you can't do something, like you can't be capable, you can't do a flip, you can't, right? Those are learned behaviors. You learned that. Think about when you were a kid and somebody told you couldn't do something. You're like, okay, bet. I'm going to do it twice and probably skin my knees up doing it, right?
Yeah.
So here's one of the things that I really hold near and dear to myself, because I weigh 275 pounds, I'm 6 feet tall, and I could do a flip because nobody ever told me I couldn't. So I never had that thought in my head that I couldn't be that capable person, weighing as much as I weigh, being able to lift as much as I lift, being fast. Like, people don't think I can run. I could chase you down in these Python boots. Like,
I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't let anybody tell you can't do something. Just have the belief that, no, I can either learn it, I can find somebody who knows it and they can teach it to me, or, you know, whatever. But don't ever let anybody tell you can't be capable, you can't lose the weight, you can't get strong or anything like that. Hear that all the time, and don't listen to that.
It's a good point. You can have whatever you want, but it's on you to earn it. So get out there and get after it.